Welcome to one of the military's most disturbing unexplained events. A moment where steel, hydraulics, and code behaved like something alive. This is the story of the helicopter that landed without a pilot. It begins on a cold desert night in 2013. Somewhere in the Middle East, inside a dimly lit security office, two soldiers, Sergeant Hale and Specialist Monroe, were reviewing routine night vision drone feeds. Then something strange appeared on camera 6. A dark shape, moving low over the desert. Hale zoomed in. The silhouette sharpened. A UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. Tail number, 23987. It was flying low, slow, and silent. Too silent. A Black Hawk's engine screams at a distance. This one drifted like a ghost. Monroe frowned. "Sir, who's flying that? We don't have any birds scheduled tonight." Hale checked the operations log. No flights. No training missions. No medevac. No special ops return. Nothing. Yet the helicopter descended. Perfectly aligned to the landing zone. Monroe leaned closer to the monitor. "Sir, where's the cockpit illumination?" It's pitch black. All pilots run minimal cockpit light, visible on night vision. But this bird was hollow. Dark. Empty. The rotors chopped the air at a slow, steady RPM. Not drifting. Not struggling. Controlled. Precise. Almost, practiced. Hale muttered. "That's impossible. Black Hawks don't fly themselves." And then, something worse. The landing gear deployed. With perfect timing. The helicopter slowed. Angled. And touched down softly onto the landing pad. Like invisible hands were guiding it. Dust rose around the wheels. The rotors powered down. But no one stepped out. No door opened. Nothing moved. It just sat there. Like something had delivered itself. Within minutes, alarms were triggered. Any unregistered aircraft entering a base is treated as a potential threat. It could be hijacked. Loaded with explosives. Carrying hostile forces. Soldiers surrounded the helicopter from a distance, rifles up. Spotlights snapped on. Captain Reyes, head of security, arrived first. He stared at the Black Hawk like he'd seen a ghost. "That can't be 23,987. That aircraft went down 2 weeks ago." Monroe blinked. "Went down? Sir, this thing flew here." Reyes shook his head, jaw tight. "We had visual confirmation. Wreckage. Fire. No survivors." But tail number 23987 was sitting right in front of them. Intact. Clean. Like it had never been touched. Reyes ordered a bomb squad. Robotic crawler rolled in. It scanned the exterior. No explosives. No traps. No heat signatures. Just one anomaly. The cockpit was empty. Both seats. The controls. The pedals. No pilot. No co-pilot. No blood. No sign of forced entry. Nothing. Reyes whispered. "Then who the hell landed it?" The bomb squad gave the all-clear. Reyes, Hale, Monroe, and 2 other soldiers approached. When Hale pulled the cockpit door handle, it opened with a soft click. Inside, it smelled like nothing. Not sweat. Not hydraulic fluid. Not burning oil. Just cold metal. The seats were buckled. Controls were neutral. The flight computer was powered down. Everything was normal. In a way that made no sense. Monroe rested a hand on the pilot's seat. It was cold. Not warm. Not recently occupied. Hale checked the dash. No flight logs. No GPS record. No black box data. As if the helicopter had never flown. As if it had been placed there like a prop. Reyes swallowed hard. I want this thing quarantined. No one touches it until higher command arrives. But command didn't arrive. Something else did. Around 2:43 a.m., 3 hours after the mysterious landing. The base heard something strange. A sound that rolled across the desert wind. Sharp. Panicked. A scream. It came from the hangar where the helicopter was locked. 2 soldiers rushed inside. But no one was there. Nothing was touched. But the cockpit door was now closed. Someone had shut it. Hale checked the internal camera footage. At 2:41 a.m., exactly 2 minutes before the scream, the helicopter door opened by itself. Slowly. Deliberately. An inch at a time. Then it shut. Hard. Like something climbed inside. But nothing was visible on camera. No distortion. No silhouette. Just the door moving. Reyes demanded. Is this some kind of prank? Remote override? Automation glitch? But Black Hawks don't have auto landing. And this one had no power. It was dead. Yet it was moving. By morning, a CIA liaison arrived. His name was Agent Dalton. Clean suit. Cold eyes. He ordered everyone away from the helicopter. Then he had 2 technicians tear apart the avionics bay. After 30 minutes, one tech shouted. Sir. You need to see this. They'd found a black box. But Black Hawks don't carry black boxes. They're combat aircraft, not commercial. Dalton examined it silently. Then said. This isn't U.S. military. The casing was matte gray. No serials. No markings. No screws visible. Like it wasn't manufactured. But printed. Grown. Hale whispered. How the hell did that get on a U.S. helicopter? Dalton didn't answer. He plugged in a cable. The black box activated. A single line of text appeared on a small LCD panel. Flight hours, 0. Monroe frowned. 0. Sir, that bird flew in last night. Dalton turned to them, stone-faced. Gentlemen, this aircraft was never flown by a human. The room fell to silence. Dalton ordered the flight computer removed. After hours of work, they recovered 11 seconds of corrupted audio. Just static at first. Then. Breathing. Wet. Ragged. A low whisper. Open, door. Monroe stepped back. Hale whispered. What opened the door last night? Dalton didn't look up. Not who. What? Then the audio continued. A second voice. Raspy, mechanical, like interference trying to form words. Landing, complete. Then a metallic creak. Rotors slowing. Then. 3 words that froze the entire hangar. No pilot detected. The recording ended. Dalton pulled up the flight path data. A red line traced across a digital map. A perfectly straight path. Over 140 miles of desert. With no deviations. Black Hawks cannot fly perfectly straight. Wind, turbulence, manual control inputs, they all cause drift. This path was mathematically flawless. As if drawn by a computer. Or something following a signal. Then Dalton clicked a second tab. Origin coordinates, unknown. Below it, a second line. Last contact, 19 years ago. Monroe shakily asked. Sir, are you saying this helicopter? Dalton cut him off. Should not exist. This airframe is older than you. It was documented as destroyed in 1994. Hale stepped backward. Destroyed where? Dalton replied. In a storm. At sea. No survivors. Monroe stared at the helicopter like it might wake up. Then what the hell flew it here? Dalton looked at the screen, his expression grim. Whatever flew it, didn't need oxygen. Didn't need a body. Didn't need a cockpit. He turned to the men. And it wants the door open again. The second night after the mysterious landing. The base barely slept. No one approached the hangar alone. No one walked past camera 6. And no one spoke the helicopter's tail number out loud. Reyes ordered double guard rotations. Dalton stayed locked in the command tent, studying the impossible black box. Hale and Monroe were stationed outside the hangar, facing the desert. At 1:12 a.m., things went wrong. It began with a vibration. Barely noticeable at first. A hum through the dirt beneath their boots. Monroe froze. Hale, you feel that? The hum grew. A soft tremor. Like something massive underground. Then it happened. The helicopter's rotors twitched. Once. Then again. A slow, stiff jerk, like waking from a long sleep. Hale shouted. Power down that hangar. Now. The floodlights snapped off. A second later. The helicopter's navigation lights blinked on. Red. Green. White. Even though it wasn't connected to any power source. Even though the battery was removed. Then came the worst sound of all. The engine coughed. A soft choking ignition. Like something trying to breathe. Monroe took 3 steps back. No, this isn't possible, there's no fuel. Hale grabbed his radio. Command, this is Guard Post 2. The helicopter is powering itself. Before he could finish, the rotors jerked again. Whumph. 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 Slow. Mechanical. Awkward. Like something inside the machine was learning how to move it. The ground shook. Dust rained from the hangar ceiling. Hale yelled. Fall back. Fall back. They ran. Behind them, the Black Hawk's engines finally caught. Whoomph. And the rotors began turning smoothly. Too smoothly. As if whatever flew it the first time had returned. Reyes sprinted into the command tent. What the hell is happening? Dalton didn't look up from his laptop. He was scrolling through lines of code ripping out of the black box. It's waking up. Reyes slammed his hand on the table. What is waking up? Dalton pointed at a fragment of decrypted data. A single line. Searching for occupant. Reyes read it twice. Occupant? You mean, a pilot? Dalton shook his head. I don't think it ever had one. Then the audio alarms blared. Unauthorized aircraft activation. Hangar 2. Dalton stood slowly. It's not looking for a pilot. It's looking for a host. Reyes went pale. A host for what? Dalton stared at the humming black box. Whatever intelligence is inside that aircraft, needs a body. Back at the hangar, Hale and Monroe regrouped with a fire team. When the doors rolled open. The helicopter was hovering. Only 3 feet above the ground. Rotors whirling smoothly. Engine steady. But the cockpit. Still empty. Hale whispered. How is it flying, without anyone touching the controls? Monroe pointed a shaking finger. Sir, look at the seats. The pilot's seat was slowly sinking back into its upright position. As if someone invisible had just sat down. Hale felt cold crawl up his spine. Then the helicopter yawed to the right. And faced them. Like an animal turning its head. The nose dipped slightly. Almost studying them. Reyes arrived and raised a megaphone. Black Hawk 23987, this is a secure base. Power down immediately or you will be fired upon. The helicopter didn't react. Reyes signaled the gunners. 2 machine guns locked on. Dalton ran into the hangar, screaming. Don't shoot. If you shoot it, you'll give it what it wants. Reyes shouted back. And what the hell does it want? Dalton's face was gray. A reason to defend itself. Before anyone could reply. The helicopter surged forward. Whoosh. Soldiers dove aside, barely clearing the rotor sweep. The helicopter hovered in the center of the hangar. Rotors inches from the walls. But never touching. Monroe gasped. It controls itself better than any human pilot. Dalton whispered. Because it isn't human. After 20 seconds of deadly hovering, the helicopter went still. Rotors slowing. Engine idling. Then. Its radio crackled. No one was transmitting. The frequency wasn't used. The base had disabled comms. Yet a voice came through. Open. Door. Hale choked on his breath. It was the same voice from the recovered audio. Wet. Mechanical. Wrong. Then came a second phrase. Host required. The helicopter turned slightly, facing the soldiers again. Searching. Choosing. Monroe stepped back. Sir, it's scanning us. One soldier panicked and fired a shot into the ceiling. Instant mistake. The helicopter reacted instantly. Humph. It shot upward, smashing through the hangar roof in a spray of metal and insulation. Everyone hit the floor as debris rained down. When they looked up, the helicopter was gone. A dark shape rising into the night sky. And then, the base alarms erupted. Unauthorized aircraft departure. All units, track target. But they didn't need radar to track it. Because 5 seconds later, a scream echoed from the guard tower. A soldier had vanished. Only his radio remained. Crushed. Bent. Like a fist had closed around it. Reyes, Hale, Monroe, Dalton, and a chase team piled into 2 Humvees. Dust exploded behind them as they tore into the desert. The helicopter's lights were visible ahead. Floating, weaving, scanning the dunes. Not flying in a straight line anymore. Searching. Like a predator. Reyes gripped the wheel. Dalton, what the hell is flying that thing? Dalton closed the laptop, his face drained of color. Not a drone. Not AI. Something older. Something that got inside the aircraft during its crash, 19 years ago. Monroe frowned. Inside, like a virus? Dalton shook his head slowly. Not biological. Not digital. Something that infects machines. Hale felt his stomach turn. Then what is its mission? Dalton hesitated. Then whispered. It's not looking for a pilot to fly it. It's looking for someone to become it. They followed the helicopter's path until it hovered above a dry ravine. A place marked on old military maps. Crash Site Delta, 94. The site where the original 23987 had gone down. Reyes stared in disbelief. It brought itself home. The helicopter lowered into the ravine. Slowly. Like kneeling. Dust swirled. Sand churned. A strange hum resonated through the ground. Hale whispered. What's it doing? Dalton swallowed. Downloading. The rotors slowed. Lights dimmed. The helicopter powered down. Exactly as it had 2 nights ago. Hale lifted binoculars. At the base of the ravine, something metallic glinted under the moonlight. The original wreckage. Or what was left of it. Twisted blades. Shattered doors. Burnt metal. A crushed cockpit. Monroe asked quietly. "Sir, if the helicopter was destroyed here, then how did it fly to our base?" Dalton closed his eyes. "Because something inside that wreckage survived." Reyes inhaled sharply. "And now that something has 2 helicopters." Dalton shook his head. "No." His voice trembled. The sand erupted. A shape burst out. Not human. Not machine. But something in between. Metal fused with bone. Rotors bent like ribs. A skull half-welded to a headset. Monroe screamed. Hale fired. Reyes fired. Everyone fired. The creature moved impossibly fast. Skittering across the ravine wall like a metal spider. Blades scraping stone. Hale shouted. "Back to the Humvees. Move." But the creature didn't chase them. It turned. And climbed inside the powered-down Black Hawk. Like it belonged there. Like it had been waiting. Inside the cockpit, its shape shifted. Metal bending. Wires threading. Controls moving by themselves. And then the engine roared. The Black Hawk woke up. With something inside it. Dalton whispered. "That's what flew it home." And it found a new pilot. The helicopter lifted off. This time. Not smooth. Not precise. But hungry. It turned its nose toward the soldiers. Lights glowing. Rotors screaming. Coming straight for them. The valley had gone silent. That kind of silence that presses on your ears. Like the world is holding its breath. Captain Miller and Ramirez moved closer to the helicopter. Their night vision cameras still recording. Every step felt heavier than the last. The Black Hawk sat perfectly still. Rotor blades slowing. Like the machine itself was exhausted. Ramirez whispered. "Sir, if nobody was flying it. Then who shut down the systems?" Because the screens were still warm. The switches were in landing configuration. The hydraulic pressure had dropped exactly as if someone followed the manual. Captain Miller leaned inside the cockpit. And froze. The pilot's seatbelt was buckled. Closed. Tight. As if someone had been sitting there. Just seconds ago. And vanished. Suddenly. Their radio crackled. A voice. Broken. Metallic. Not human. "Clear the way." Miller stared at Ramirez. "Did you say that?" Ramirez shook his head, pale as snow. Then the voice spoke again. This time clearer. Sharper. Like someone was standing right behind them. "Clear the way for extraction." And this time. They recognized it. It was the voice of Lieutenant Price. Their pilot. But Lieutenant Price had been killed 3 months earlier. In a nighttime crash in Kandahar. Before they could react. The helicopter's engine spun back to life. No ignition switch touched. No button pressed. The Black Hawk screamed. Dust exploding around them. "Back!" Miller yelled. They dove behind a rock. As the helicopter lifted. Perfectly balanced. Perfectly controlled. Except for one thing. No one was inside. No shadow. No figure. Just the empty pilot seat. And the buckle swinging slightly. As if someone had just stepped out. The Black Hawk rose 20 feet. And paused in the air. Hovering with machine precision. Then it turned its nose. Toward the far ridgeline. The radio hissed one last time. Extraction complete. And the helicopter flew into the darkness. On its own. Not fast. Not slow. Just steady. Like it had done this 100 times. It disappeared over the mountains. Engines fading into the night. And then. Silence. Absolute. Unbroken. The official report stated. Mechanical malfunction not ruled out. Possible remote control interference. No confirmed anomalous activity. But the soldiers who were there never believed the report. Because they all heard the voice, every one of them. And every one of them knew that voice had belonged to a dead man. Captain Miller never spoke of it again. Except once. Years later, he told a journalist. Machines don't land themselves with human habits. They don't breathe. They don't wait for you to get out of the way. Something came back that night. Something that remembered us. Then he paused. And whatever flew that helicopter. It wasn't flying for us. It was coming to take something back. And so the military buried the footage. But the soldiers never forgot. The Black Hawk that landed itself. The voice that belonged to a man already dead. And the machine that flew into the night. As if guided by something we were never meant to understand. Because sometimes, out there in the dark, the line between man and memory is thinner than metal. And some ghosts don't haunt places. They haunt missions. If stories like this keep you awake at night, if you want to hear every classified whisper the world tries to bury, then hit that subscribe button now. Because out here, in the dark, truth doesn't wait. And neither should you.